Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a hypnosis session that was really designed to help a client deal with feelings of what I would consider justified anger. And sometimes I work with clients and I make the evaluation that probably the anger isn't that justified and it's just an overreaction. And it's still not a useful outcome to feel angry based on a thought. It can be very useful if it's based on an action. So I happen to have the belief that all emotions are useful in an appropriate context. And if someone tried to kidnap my children and I was next to them, I would want full-on anger, full-on rage, and do whatever it took to get them back. So anger or rage can have a really useful context if something bad is happening that is completely unfair and unjustified. But when you're linking anger to thoughts, or if you're linking anger to triggers that actually aren't that bad, then actually anger isn't serving you. And this particular client had recurring thoughts about something that she was making the evaluation wasn't fair, wasn't right, and almost that the person responsible was getting away with it. And that lack of fairness or justice can really provoke a feeling of righteous anger. But feeling angry can affect the individual feeling angry's cortisol levels and immune system, but the anger itself doesn't really affect the person that is the trigger of the anger. And I think it was Buddha or someone like that I believe, and I could be misquoting here, but it's something along the lines of holding on to anger or resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And it's a good analogy because the person that gets damaged most from the anger is the person experiencing the anger. In this particular case, we thought it was useful to introduce not forgiveness, because they, in all honesty, weren't really worthy of the forgiveness, but just this idea of disdain or ambivalence, because sometimes people like to provoke to get a reaction. They feed off the energy and the attention and almost the emotion. They take joy in triggering other people. So the best thing you can do in a situation like that is to not give a shit and to actively access this feeling of disdain, or kind of almost have this feeling of is a bit pathetic or just ambivalence, just not caring. It's kind of like a lot of things happen in the world and you don't have to have an emotional reaction to all of it. In fact, some things perhaps you should have a reaction to. Let's say people drown in an ocean. You feel nothing because you've seen stories like that many times before. And there's a feeling of, oh, well, I didn't know these people. So it's possible to have information and feel nothing. And that's useful if currently what you're thinking about is causing huge amounts of anger and frustration. So that's really what this hypnosis session is aimed to do, to convert the intense, unuseful emotion of anger into something a bit more neutral, or at least something that isn't going to mess up the cortisol and immune system, kind of hormones. If you're listening to this and you feel that you have an issue with aggression or anger, you feel like you're too easily triggered, particularly with thoughts of things that have happened in the past, by all means, reach out to me by clicking the link in the show notes if you feel I might be able to help. We can have a free consultation call to discuss that. But you might find that actually this session, albeit it was created for someone else and a lot of the references just won't make sense to you because they had a different context, it still might be able to bring those anger levels down and give you access to a more useful emotion. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a deep, calm feeling of comfort and resourcefulness. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of stress or tension to leave your body in your outward breath. Feel as you breathe in and breathe out that the muscles around your eyes, your forehead, your jaw, your neck, feel like the tension is melting away like an ice cube in the sunshine. That as you breathe in and breathe out, you're giving permission to let go of some of those things you've been holding on to. Things like anger, a feeling of injustice, any of those emotions that have been holding you back. I want you to consider them as toxic. In the same way that people can be toxic and you wouldn't want them in your life, so too can emotions. A little bit of anger can help you make important choices and decisions. A bit of anxiety can help you prepare. A little bit of stress enables you to give a level of importance to certain things. But too much becomes toxic. So as you breathe in that feeling of resourcefulness, allow these toxic emotions to feel like it's time to let them go. Whatever doesn't serve you can harm you. Whatever isn't helping is hindering. And right now you need to be as resourceful as you can be. I want you to imagine if you had to walk 10 miles and you could choose to carry big bags filled with bricks and you had to walk the same 10 miles anyway. Would you prefer to carry those big heavy bags of bricks the entire 10 miles, or is it better to just let them go? And you've got a journey ahead of you, and you need to be resourceful. So do you want to have that journey, holding on to anything that can weigh you down, change your mood, make you feel less resourceful? And it might be that this was someone else's game plan. Certain words, certain approaches, certain tactics designed to get people in a certain mood because maybe they figured out when they're holding on to emotions like stress and anger, they don't think as clearly. They might give up. I want you to get a sense that you holding on to anger, you holding on to stress could be playing into a game you don't even realize you're playing. And therefore, letting go of anger means that you are defending yourself against devious tactics from someone playing a game of chess. By you thinking a couple of moves ahead, you can stop their tactics from working. So feel like you can let go of that stress, that anger, that frustration, and instead be the most resourceful version of you. So you continue to breathe in and breathe out. I want you to get a sense that you naturally release the emotional charge from past memories, allowing them to become neutral and less impactful on your emotions. That you can view past experiences with perhaps a specific person from a place of detachment, feeling calm and composed. And I wonder what would happen if instead of anger, you cultivate feelings of disdain or ambivalence, reducing their emotional hold over you. I want you to imagine that your emotional response to any person or any situation, if it's not helpful to you, is like water off a duck's back, effortlessly flowing away from you. Because you recognize that holding on to anger only drains your energy and vitality. And you would rather choose to conserve your emotional resources. Imagine that you are so mentally strong that your mind becomes a fortress of peace and serenity, impervious to any attempts to provoke anger, and anger is provoked. But imagine it, someone throwing stones at the impenetrable walls of a fortress, they just bounce off and do nothing. And how frustrating would that be for the person throwing stones if ambivalence is the reaction? I want you to visualize this person as a pathetic energy vampire, realizing that your lack of anger denies them the emotional energy they crave. You already know that you have the ability to confidently stand in your power, refusing anyone the ability to manipulate your emotions or disturb your inner peace. And in the face of confrontation, you remain emotionally centered, responding with clarity and assertiveness instead of anger. Because when you make your emotional well-being your priority, it becomes easier to release any attachment to the negative emotions that have naturally came up in the past. Certain things perpetuate. Hurt people, but anger normally leads to more anger, which leads to more anger. But what if you can be the one to stop that cycle? To pour water on the flames of anger, replacing it with ambivalence or disdain. Imagine replacing anger with emotional sovereignty. You are in control of your emotions and reactions. And anytime you're triggered is an opportunity to establish new perspectives, thoughts, boundaries, to give you that feeling of control in the future. And feel how good it feels to feel and embrace the freedom that comes with releasing anger, experiencing a newfound lightness of being. Your emotional landscape is changing. The scenery in your landscape is not represented by frustration and anger, hate or injustice, but a growing sense of peace and balance. The tree of anger has no place now to take root. Celebrate in the power of emotional liberation, knowing that by letting go of anger and having boundaries to prevent anger in the future, you reclaim your personal power. As you step into a new reality, where even if anger is justified, the fact that it doesn't serve you means that it is not worthy of your emotional investment. And with that, it loses its grip on you. And you're able to embrace the joy of emotional freedom and empowerment, knowing that you can help yourself, but more importantly, you become an example to other people of how to deal with a pathetic energy vampire that wants to drain intense emotions. They will learn from you. You will feel better. And unconsciously, you will teach other people to have boundaries and ways of thinking, to starve the energy vampire, and to reclaim a sense of empowerment, freedom, and inner peace. And I want you to imagine a very short time in the future, maybe just a few days or weeks' time, and you're seeing yourself with almost a force field that protects you from the triggers of anger, and see yourself centered and composed, in control. That something that in the past would have caused anger now creates a different reaction, like ambivalence or disdain. And when you can see that future version of you now coping differently because you have different beliefs and different ways of thinking, and you want to neutralize this tactical game of chess, just let me know when you see that empowered future version of you by nodding your head. That's it. And accept that this is your future. That any time of anger is a learning opportunity to change what you think or how you think, to drain all that energy away, just like draining color from a picture, giving you a sense of neutrality, ambivalence, but still having a pragmatic will to do what needs to be done. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Feel like you're returning to the present as you wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, feeling completely connected with this present point in time. As very soon I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, feeling like you've let go of disempowering emotions, that you feel empowered with new ways of thinking to keep you and the people you love protected and safe, and to move forward in a more positive way, starting to count 1, 2, 3, waking up, 4, 5, 6, more alert, 7, 8, open your eyes, 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.